setting the tone for the first half here between the Republic of Ireland and the U.S. women's national team. I turn to you, Jen Hildreth, my partner here on the broadcast tonight. What's the U.S. looking for out of this one tonight?
Well, I think what's going to be really important for the U.S. in this match is quick movement off the ball, because they're going to see a lot of defense from Ireland, a lot of numbers back behind the ball. It's like quick movement is going to be key for them to get things going and get some fireworks offensively. And
as you probably heard Kate Markgraf in the pregame show, some feisty, hard tackles coming from the Republic of Ireland. Let's go ahead and turn to our starting lineups, and first we begin with Jill Ellis's USA lineup.
Well, you've got your highlight makers up top, obviously with Morgan and Wambach, the hometown girl. Great feature on her in the pregame show. Megan Rapinoe on that right side of the midfield, but keep an eye on that back line. A couple of new insertions into the starting lineup, and Becky Sauerbrunn and Heather Mitts at those outside back positions. Both
teams will be allowed 6 substitutions on the night. We turn the page and take a look at the Republic of Ireland and the starting 11 for the visitors.
Well, they're going to also line up in a 4-4-2. Their most veteran, most experienced player, captain for this match, is their goalkeeper, Emma Byrne. They're going to really need that leadership from her because they are without their veteran in the field, and Kiara Grant. She is not with the team tonight, so they're going to have some young players step up, including one of their targets up top, Denise O'Sullivan, one of the 2 O'Sullivans up top.
A very young team here for the girls in green, as they're so called. Just 2 players above the age of 26. Let's go down and check in with the third member of our crew here on the game broadcast, and that's Kat Whitehill. How are you, Kat?
I'm doing great, and it's a beautiful night to play soccer here. I love this weather. As a player, this is what you dream about when you're playing sometimes. And one thing that there is a concern for some of these players is the new national team coach, Tom Sermanni from Australia, coming over. This is their first audition, and some players who didn't get a whole lot of minutes in the Olympics, a couple of them tonight are getting some of those minutes. Heather Mitts and Becky Sauerbrunn, this is their time to show them that they're skilled, that they're ready to play, and even some veterans that have been in World Cups and Olympics, like someone like Heather O'Reilly. This is a new life for her, a new coach, a new way to show when she comes on the field tonight, if she does, how she can play, and that she's ready for the new coach and ready for this new year and the new World Cup and Olympic possibilities.
Thanks so much, Kat. Becky Sauerbrunn, a lot of substitute appearances during the Olympic Games, and for Heather Mitts, she actually only made 1 game appearance during the London Olympics, so both those players will be looking to impress Tom Sermanni, who we have been told is watching from afar. We go back downstairs, pitch side, and we're going to have a brief moment of silence before we get to the first half kick. Some heavy hearts that I'll tell you about in just a moment for many of the players on this Republic of Ireland national team.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise to observe a moment of silence for Mr. Jeremy Dee of the Football Association of Ireland, who passed away tragically last week. Jeremy Dee made a huge contribution to the development of girls and women's soccer in Ireland at all levels, and will be sadly missed by his family, friends, and the game in Ireland. Thank you.
As you probably heard the public address announcer here at Geldwin Field, Jeremy Dee was a well-known and highly respected part of the Irish football family and tragically passed away recently in a car accident. So the Federation asking for a moment of silence in respect for the girls in green. And of course, the U.S. Soccer Federation obliging with that. Jen, I mentioned Tom Sermanni. That's also one of the big storylines, the newly appointed head coach for this U.S. women's national team. What's he looking for tonight, do you think, from afar?
I think he's probably going to be doing a lot of evaluating in some of the positions we talked about, that Kat talked about on that back line. Kind of watch how these players all interact together. I mean, it really is. Obviously, he's seen this team. He faced them twice when he was with Australia on this victory tour. How they work together, who takes leadership, who really has great skill on the ball, and how they work with one another. All kinds of little things that coaches will be looking for to help him when he gets in here and gets on the ground running.
Probably going to have that notebook full of notes by the time we get to the end of 90 minutes here. Tobin Heath and the U.S. ready to kick off here at Geldwin Field in Portland, Oregon. The whistle from Katja Koroleva gets the first half underway, as the Republic of Ireland in the green shorts and white tops will attack from right to left across your screen. While the Stars and Stripes, wearing the red and white hoop tops, defend the goal to Jen and my left. We're underway here in the first half. If you're unaware, it's the first of 2 meetings between these 2 teams over the next 4 days. They'll meet in Phoenix on Saturday, a game you can also see right here on Fox Soccer. Mitchell Bueller sliding over to clear one away. Bueller, congratulations go out to her just 11 days ago, recently married. Her new husband, Bobby, and many of the ladies on the U.S. Women's National Team there for the ceremony down in San Diego at Balboa Park. John, Kate, and Kat talked about it a little bit, Jen, in the pregame show. The fact that this is a team that hasn't been together too much. In fact, their last game coming just a day past 5 weeks ago. So we might see a little rust here in the early minutes.
Yeah, I talked to Abby Wambach about that before the match, and she admitted it's tough. And this is a long victory tour, and it is tough to come into the match when you only have had 1 training session. They had some much needed time off. But at the same time, she also talked about the pride that comes with putting on that U.S. jersey. These players and this team have a high level of expectation when they step out on this field. There might be a little rust at the beginning, but I think you'll see them improve even as the match goes on.
They do know each other pretty well, despite a few changes in the lineup to start here tonight in Portland. Christy Rampone, the captain for this team, sending that one forward towards midfield, and here's Carly Lloyd. Hasn't she played well in some big games in Olympic tournaments over the last 4 years? Nice little touch there to spring Tobin Heath. Across here for Wambach, first time all the way back, looking to connect there with Alex Morgan, something they have done so well in 2012.
The pass maybe just a little bit off, but not much rust on that play, Mark. Look at the work here through all the players, from Lloyd to Morgan, knowing exactly where Tobin Heath was. Kat and Kate broke down some of Alex Morgan's runs, and you see her heading far left. Abby Wambach knows she's there. That's the kind of familiarity that practice helps, but clearly it's still at a pretty high level for the U.S.
The entire Republic of Ireland defense turned their head looking toward Abby Wambach, and that left Alex Morgan all alone on the back post. Didn't connect on that occasion, but something tells me we'll see plenty of that throughout the course of the night. Yvonne Tracy, she's the veteran player across the back tonight for the Irish team. And there's Fiona O'Sullivan, one of the 2 O'Sullivan players you talked about playing up top. Denise O'Sullivan, the younger of the 2, 19 years of age. No relation between the 2. Rampone will start things from the back now for the U.S. Direct ball, looking for Alex Morgan. And knocked out.
I wouldn't expect a lot of high pressure from Ireland, so it's going to be interesting to see how the U.S. chooses to build their attack when they get the ball in the back line, starting like they did just there with Rampone. Will they choose to go a little more direct, look for that long ball? I know Jill Ellis wants them to use the width of this field, so let's see when they go into the middle here, will they go back out wide?
Lloyd looking out wide for Megan Rapinoe. And she is happy to be back in this part of the country. Just a few minutes into the first half here at Geldwin Field.
What did she say to us when we talked to her at training last night? Yeah, it really gets tiring. Tell them to stop chanting my name. I just can't take it anymore.
Always has a good sense of humor.
Tongue in cheek, of course.
Bueller battling to win the ball. It pops loose here for Fiona O'Sullivan. Spent some time in the U.S., playing in 2010 with the California Storm alongside Brandy Chastain and the great Cece, the Brazilian playmaker. Bueller forward. Now the U.S. will settle at the back for Hope Solo. Heather Mitz up and over the top. Wambach with a heavy touch and gives it away. Here comes Nifahi directing the attack here for the Republic of Ireland. Julianne Russell, the young 21-year-old. Nice little cut move inside, playing in toward the near post. Mitz let it run across. Good communication, though, there. As you see, Hope Solo reaches out to her right back, Heather Mitz.
Heather Mitz obviously listening to her goalkeeper here. She's keeping an eye on her man, keeping number 11 in close contact. She sees the run coming. Hope Solo calls her off. And that is good communication, especially as we said, Mitz hasn't been starting all that much. And it's good to see that type of teamwork going on in the back line with the goalkeeper.
5 minutes and change gone here in the first half, and we're scoreless between the U.S. and the Republic of Ireland. Kat Whitehill down on the sideline. What are you seeing from down there between the benches, Kat?
Well, I'm actually seeing a little frustration. I just saw Christy Rampone kind of talk to her team, be like, we need to pick up the pace a little bit. It's a little too slow. Maybe even play a little bit more direct. And I'm looking at her face, and she's kind of shaking her head, just with a bit of frustration. Maybe that's this little bit of a break that they took, and they're trying to get their legs back under them a bit.
Well, Kat, I know you guys touched on it in the pregame about defensively. That might be the one area that breaks down a little bit when you're not together for quite a while.
Yeah, it's the hardest one to get back together when you've been on a break for so long, and it's one of the things that you work the hardest on when you're preparing for the Olympics or preparing for a World Cup. So it's normally the first thing to go, and that's where the frustration comes in from Christy Rampone, and just being a good captain, telling her team, hey, we're okay, let's just go play the way that we know, let's get that first touch underneath us a little bit better.
Carly Lloyd directing it back out wide for Heather Mitz. Lloyd turning into a little bit of pressure there from Fahy. And here's Lauren Cheney. Perhaps no one's game has, in terms of a positional sense, has changed more as she sprays the ball wide for Tobin Heath. Early ball in toward the near post, pushed away. The U.S. will get a second crack at it. Heath with a heavy first touch. She gains control out top. Morgan, and the shot saved. And the U.S. will have their first corner on the night. Emma Byrne tested for the first time this evening.
Well, you knew Emma Byrne was going to have to come up big. That's just probably the first of several times in this match tonight, and she stands tall to this challenge. It's really great combination play between Morgan and Heath, and Byrne just protecting that near post, getting her body out in front of it.
Rapinoe steps over to take the first corner for the U.S. women's national team as we tick in to the 8th minute of play. Driven in onto the near post. Bueller was close by. Can she keep it alive for a second bite of the cherry? It's cleared away towards midfield. Good defending from Becky Sauerbrunn as she shields the ball away and plays back for Hope Solo. Abby directs it down toward the feet of Lauren Cheney. The Republic of Ireland regained control right in their own defensive third.
I think that is one of Abby Wambach's great skills, is her ability to direct the ball off of her body in one touch, whether it's her chest or feet. Everybody talks about how strong and physical she is in the air, but she can also be very technical.
Abby will apply some pressure here, but the ball headed away. Cheney has it poked away from her feet into some space in the middle part of the field. Denise O'Sullivan sprays it out wide. Russell. Back. Anticipation there from Wambach. Looking to spring the ball up and over the top for Alex Morgan. There's Wambach to win it one more time. Running right at the heart of the Republic of Ireland defense, and it's the second time tonight she's taken a hard challenge. This one will award the U.S. a free kick.
Abby Wambach is a warrior out there, and she takes a beating every match that she plays. She is such an imposing physical presence, and teams play her physically. Makes you wonder, how long can she hold up under that? And when we talk to her, she seems surely to have her goals set on those upcoming tournaments, and you know, she's missing that World Cup championship. Wants that mightily.
Well, for Portland fans, it won't be the last time they see her in the coming months. As Abby told us yesterday, she recently purchased a house here in the Portland, Oregon area. Just outside the corner of the 18, Rapinoe driving it toward the near post. Not the best of service there from the former Portland pilot. And Rapone gathers it back up at midfield. Good ball and a good touch to further it on there by Carly Lloyd. Mitz. Now Rampone, as you would imagine, no high pressure here from the Irish national team. Bueller. We know that Jill Ellis, who is the interim manager right now for this U.S. women's national team, as Heath touches it back there for Carly Lloyd, since she wanted to see that early tempo, that early rhythm. And could they get a lot of crosses into the 18? We've only seen a couple of them so far, but they have had some dangerous chances already in the opening 10 minutes of play. Lloyd opening it up to the far side of the field. Rapinoe looking for for Wambach, cleared away by the Republic of Ireland. Not out of danger yet, though. Jaburka sends it over the top, trying to spring Fiona O'Sullivan, and she's going to have a tough night all night long, working with a lack of numbers in terms of going forward. Sue Ronan on the bench for the girls in green. Spent some time as a player with this team in the late 80s and early 90s, and took over in October of 2010 to become the coach.
She was very upfront, honest with us when we spoke with her. You know, they want to come in here and give it their best shot against the world's #1, but at the same time, this is a young team. They're breaking in a lot of new players. They are without, as I mentioned in the lineups, Kiara Grant, the most capped woman on the Irish national team, a member of Arsenal, and she, as Coach Ronan told us, is on holiday. She had it scheduled and was upset to have to miss this match, but it was something she already had in place, and so they will have to go without her. Interesting, though, there is another Kiara Grant on the bench, a young one who has no caps so far for Ireland, so don't get confused.
And I would suspect we might see her at some point here tonight. Tobin Heath lifting the chin, looking inside the area, bangs the ball all the way across, and it'll just skip over the top of the crossbar and out for a goal kick here for Emma Byrne. Well, coaches on one side talking about Sue Ronan, but Tom Sermani, the newly appointed head coach, as you see this last opportunity for the U.S. women's national team.
Tobin Heath trying to sneak this one in just under the crossbar. Looked like Ireland had it covered anyway. Byrne had her hand right up to the crossbar, wasn't going to get beat on that ball. But one of the things that Sermani is known for, you heard some of the players talk about it, is, you know, sophistication of the game and making it attractive soccer. I think that is certainly a direction a lot of people feel the U.S. will try to go a little more toward. And Tobin Heath, one of those players who he will very much like what he sees in that area. Very technically skilled.
Yeah, absolutely. Considered probably one of the most skillful as far as technique players on the roster for the U.S. women's national team. That's a double-edged sword, though, when you think about it, because if you're #1 in the world and you've won a lot of big tournaments, how much can you go in there and change the style of play? If you don't get results, there's going to be a lot of critics.
Of course. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I mean, there's certainly that mentality, but at the same time, the way you stay on top is you've always got to figure out how to stay ahead of the curve and keep getting better.
Mitt sends that one out near midfield for a throw here for the Republic of Ireland. There's a few fans still settling into their seats here at Geldwin Field on a chilly night here in Portland. Jaburka puts in the throw. Denise O'Sullivan battling for a loose ball. Wanted to feed it through a seam there for Fiona O'Sullivan. Somehow maintains the possession here. Jaburka one more time, pressured there by Rapinoe, and it's the U.S. that gets the throw off the corner of their own bench.
Even a deflection off Rapinoe gets a big cheer from this Portland crowd.
And she addressed the crowd at an open training session to the public last night right here at Geldwin Field. And all sorts of cheers rang out when her name was announced. The opportunity to talk to some of the fans that probably saw her play with the University of Portland, where she won a national championship in her career. Cheney, plenty of width out here and plenty of space now for Rachel Bueller. Sauerbrunn pushing up that sideline. Morgan making the run into the heart of the area. Wambach feeds it back now here for Tobin Heath. From up high here at our broadcast position, you can really see how the visitors, the Republic of Ireland, are trying to surround the ball and really pressure the ball once it gets about 30-35 yards out from their own goal.
All their clusters of numbers are in the middle, though. That's where that width is going to be so important in switching the field for the U.S. Get away from all those defenders.
Cheney whips one onto the back post. Rapinoe will bring it down. Matched up there with O'Gorman. Gets around the first challenge, tries to get around the second, and a hard challenge coming in from Maeve Jaburka to give the U.S. a free kick just outside the edge of the 18.
How about a little trickeration from Miss Rapinoe? We've seen certainly some tricky moves from her before, a little back heel to free herself. It's tough to take as a defender. Is it worse than getting nutmeg?
I like it. Oh, is it worse?
I don't know. What do you think?
No.
Both are kind of bad. And now a very dangerous spot Rapinoe lines up this free kick.
27-year-old plays out top. Cheney hits it first time, deflected out by the Republic of Ireland defense. Still alive though for a second chance. Sauerbrunn calling her number from 25 yards out, but nowhere near the target. Sauerbrunn, the St. Louis, Missouri native, who had the opportunity to play in both the semifinal and a final as a substitute in the 2012 Olympics. All right, just more than a quarter of an hour into the first half here tonight. As I mentioned, 5 weeks and a day off since their last game. How do they look?
I think they're still settling in a little bit, and certainly the majority of the possession has gone to the U.S., as you would expect. The question always is, what are you doing with that possession? Are you turning it into dangerous opportunities? We've seen a couple, but I'm curious to hear what Kat has to say if she's keeping an eye on Rampone down there, and if the U.S. captain is looking perhaps a little more pleased with her team's play.
You can also imagine there probably would be some words coming from the bench, correct, Kat?
Well, I haven't really heard a whole lot coming from the bench. I think the coaches kind of present this a little bit the way that the players are. They've had a little bit of time off, and they want this team to just play and have a lot of fun. But I will say it has started to rain. Nothing new to the Portland area, and the rain is starting to fall. It makes it a little bit colder, and on a turf field, makes it a little slicker. So this helps the Ireland team a little bit more as they're more accustomed to this rain and this cold. So we'll see what happens as the rest of the game goes on.
That's an excellent point. In fact, Jen, when we were at training yesterday, some of the players saying that would probably contribute to leveling the playing field a little bit in this one. Not certainly even, but it would level it out just a bit.
Well, weather can be the great equalizer. I mean, you both have to deal with the conditions.
Louise Quinn, 22-year-old defender, sending that ball forward here for the Republic of Ireland, and it winds up in the gloves of Hope Solo. Unless you've been, as you see the rain coming down, unless you've been under a rock probably for the last 12 hours or so, you probably saw the report about Hope Solo's husband, Jeremy Stevens, being arrested in Florida, and John Strong and the crew detailed it to begin our show here tonight on Fox Soccer.
I think the biggest question as it relates to this game is just focus for Hope. You know, is she focused? Is her mind where it needs to be for this match?
Sauerbrunn. Square ball for Rapinoe. Dumps it off now for Mitz, who will join in the fold. For Rapinoe, and it was just out of her reach. Cleared away there by Maeve DeBurka. DeBurka spent some time in the U.S. playing at the University of New Haven back in 2009. Quick throw from the Stars and Stripe. Mitz pops it forward for Cheney. Rapinoe, good quick touches here from the U.S. Denise O'Sullivan to Fiona O'Sullivan. DeBurka forward. Not a bad idea there to play it back inside by Anya O'Gorman. Just nobody sitting in the space there.
Yeah, Fiona O'Sullivan had dropped so deep defensively, she was still making a run to get back up there on top.
She told us last night she was looking forward to the opportunity to match up with Abby Wambach on some set pieces, but because she's been trying to find some space and some touches up top, she hasn't really had the opportunity to do that so far here tonight.
Well, and I noticed she did not match up with Abby on the corner kick opportunity for the U.S. earlier this half.
Tobin Heath picks up the loose ball near midfield. Abby Wambach able to turn into some space. Pressured from behind. And the possession goes back for a moment there for the Republic of Ireland, but not before Tobin Heath wins it right back. Has some support out wide, and Cheney brings it out top here. And the shot will go wide. There's a Fiona O'Sullivan.
Showed some frustration earlier. She got her head on a ball. It's one of her strengths, and I saw her kind of throw her hands up in the air afterwards as if to say, who's making a run? Nobody was around her. And that is going to be a challenge for this Irish team. You're going to need to try to get some numbers forward, and you might have to hold possession a little longer to do that because you do have so many numbers back on defense.
Heath leading the break. Morgan, left foot, kick save there from Emma Byrne. Loose ball cleared away. Nifa, he came in to make sure she could clean things up after the second critical save, I would call it, on the night from Emma Byrne. And actually, in fact, to be precise, it's the second time she's had to come up with a save against Alex Morgan.
Take another look at how this developed. Tobin Heath with the ball at her feet. She is so smart, can do so many things there. Alex Morgan decides to wait on that ball a little bit, take it a little wider, and cross it across the front of the net. Everybody's breaking out the bag of tricks tonight. And I think if you're Ireland, you've really got to be careful and make good decisions on when you step and you're aggressive and you step into those U.S. players and when you drop back, because they're giving them an awful lot of space as they attack, and that is not what you want to do.
Well, their head coach, Sue Ronan, I think said it best last night at their training, talking about the difference between the two teams at what level. The top team, number 1 in the rankings for the U.S. and 34 for the Republic of Ireland. Let's check in one more time downstairs with Kat Whitehill.
Well, now Coach Jill Ellis is getting a little bit involved, and she's telling Heather Mitts and Becky Sauerbrunn, get forward. We don't need 3 defenders back here guarding 1 Republic of Ireland striker. Let's get both of the attacking outside back, get you the outside backs attacking a little bit more, get more numbers forward, put more of the pressure on that Republic of Ireland defense, and get those early crosses in. She was telling both Heather Mitts and Christy Ramapone to just stay high.
Again, that was something that interim manager Jill Ellis said last night. Early crosses into the 18th width from this U.S. women's national team. Cheney heavy with the first touch. Fiona O'Sullivan will pick up the ball for the Republic of Ireland.
And I think that is one of the strengths of Heather Mitts. She's always been very good at getting up the field, getting into the attack, and that's going to be something for this back line to show as one of the skills that Tom Sermanni probably will be looking for, to see who has that in them to be able to get up the field and get into the attack a little bit.
34 years young for Heather Mitts. She picks up her 133rd career cap with the U.S. women's national team. Lofted into the top of the 18. Carly Lloyd on the loose ball, springing it forward now for Rapinoe. Good vision to bring it back inside for Cheney, who keeps the movement going into some space now for Tobin Heath. Sophie Perry sliding over to defend. Ball comes all the way through the 18, and no one puts a touch to it as it comes all the way to the near sideline into the feet of Anya O'Gorman.
How does that ball get through without anybody? I mean, the U.S. or Ireland getting a foot on it. The U.S. especially. Tobin Heath laying a ball through, maybe a little bit behind. The timing of the run's a little bit off. But that's one of those opportunities you want to capitalize on, at least get a shot off.
Just past the midway point of the first half and still scoreless between the U.S. and the girls in green here at Geldwin Field. Happy to have you along for the ride here on Fox Soccer. Jen Hildreth, Mark Rogandino, Kat Whitehill patrolling the sidelines. Morgan bends one into the far side. She got it! 1-0 USA! A kiss off the post and into the back of the net.
The U.S. doing a nice job of keeping this alive, and then look at the space they're giving to Alex Morgan. Nobody's stepping in to take that ball away from her. She says, all right, I'll use my left foot and get it right on the inside of that post. That's what I was talking about with the Irish defenders. They're holding back because they don't want to get beat on a move, like we've seen a couple of tricky moves from Tobin Heath and Megan Rapinoe, so they're holding back. You've got to step up and get in the face of a player like Alex Morgan. I imagine that is somewhat of what Emma Byrne was yelling a moment ago at her defenders.
That goal now ties her on the all-time list for the U.S. women's national team with former coach April Heinrichs. 35 goals now in Alex Morgan's career, and that one comes in the 24th minute of play to give the U.S. a 1-0 lead.
Alex on the short list for the FIFA Women's World Player of the Year, along with Abby Wambach, Carly Lloyd, and Megan Rapinoe from the U.S. Those 3 finalists will be announced tomorrow for that award. Alex Morgan certainly has a very good shot. The kind of year she's been having.
Yeah, she led the team this year, but just by a small margin. That, in fact, in 2012 is her 25th goal. But as I mentioned, the 35th of her U.S. women's national team career. And actually now she sits in the, or tied I should say, for the 13th spot on the list. And now she is just one behind her teammate, Heather O'Reilly, who sits on 36. O'Reilly on the bench tonight for the Stars and Stripes. No question, Alex Morgan had some of the best chances so far here tonight. She finally breaks through with the goal.
And you know what I think is so impressive about her year is not just the goals but the assists, 18 on the year.
Sauerbrunn breaking forward down that far side of the field. Had both Alex Morgan and Abby Wambach inside the area. Couldn't get the service all the way across.
I think Megan Rapinoe running on that ball as well, Mark, and the Irish did well to stick a foot out and break that pass out.
Here's Mitz looking for Abby. Second touch left her for just a moment. And O'Gorman plays back in for DeBurka. U.S. will high pressure just a little bit to try and keep the Republic of Ireland in their own defensive third.
And I think they should. I think we should see a lot of high pressure from the United States. That's part of the reason of bringing those backs up into the attack. Bring the numbers up. This is the type of match you need to do that. You need to dominate this Irish team. Put them under pressure from the get-go.
Tons of real estate to run onto with the ball at her feet here for the captain, Christy Rampone. Sauerbrunn. Tobin Heath attracts two defenders from the Republic of Ireland. Cheney making the overlapping run. Creates some space coming inside. The diagonal ball intended for Abby Wambach. Let's go back and take one more look at it, Jen. Nice finish from Alex Morgan.
It was, and showing her ability to use both feet. You know, she's assessing what's in front of her. She saw some good space, saw just enough room to be able to squeeze it in there and kiss it off the post.
Yeah, that look right there really shows you how tight and how small that window was for her to curl that in with her left foot.
And you and I were talking about it last night. I've been so impressed with the way that Alex Morgan has grown and improved her game over the last probably year and a half. And when she first came into WPS, you know, I was curious to see what a lot of the hype was about and how she would do with a lot of other talented players against her. And at first it was just a lot of speed, and I wasn't sure about her technical ability, but she has proven with the way she makes her runs, her anticipation, and her touch on the ball, she has just turned into a world-class player.
See if there's a response here from the girls in green. Bueller will clear that one away. Headed right back in, intended for Fiona O'Sullivan. Knocks it down into the feet of Denise O'Sullivan. Irish team looking for a whistle. Didn't get it from our referee, Katja Koroleva, who's been very quiet tonight, which is a good thing. DeBurka. As the Republic of Ireland trying to use a little bit of width of their own.
Sue Ronan really likes her outside midfielders to be involved in the attack. She thinks that's where a lot of her speed and skill lies. Ireland on this possession not really utilizing those players, but they do earn a free kick.
Particularly on the, as Carly Lloyd has whistled for the challenge, particularly on the left side for the Republic of Ireland, Anya O'Gorman is known for her quickness and her good attacking ability from wide positions. All right, here comes a set piece chance for the visitors, as Hope Solo will direct some traffic out in front. U.S. defense setting a firm line with the trap right at the top of the 18. Lloyd, first to rise up and head it away right at the edge of the area. Out for a throw now here for the girls in green. They too have had a pretty long break since the last time they played. Group 4 play in the UEFA Euro 2013 qualifying. They played back in September, a 2-0 win at Ramat Gan Stadium in Israel with a 2-0 win. O'Sullivan trying to post up in the heart of the area, some contact. And you know, that might be one of the ways, Jen, that the visiting team is going to try and have to draw some chances.
Well, I think this was very smart of O'Sullivan because she was wrapped up. I think a whistle should have been blown there. A little holding going on, and even if that hadn't happened, if she felt that pressure, I think that's a smart play there. Go down, try to earn yourself a penalty.
Well, certainly it'll give Katja Koroleva, our referee, something to think about throughout the course of tonight. Into the 31st minute. Alex Morgan with the lone goal so far here on the night. Now before Julianne Russell can put a touch to it. She's got some ties to the U.S. too, playing in the W League with the LA Strikers last year in 2011.
The Irish women are in the second year of having their own national league. Several of these players, 5 on the squad who are here, 6 including one who is not, play in that league.
And you would probably have to say that the majority of the rest of the players who play professionally over in England, a lot of them for the Arsenal ladies team playing in the FA Women's Super League.
And that Arsenal team will be playing in the quarterfinals of the Women's Champions League in March. Those matchups were just announced on Tuesday.
Without question, the most successful team in English women's soccer. Heath trying to touch it forward there, looking for Lauren Cheney. Republic of Ireland do a good job to get some numbers around the ball and win it back. Yvonne Tracy swinging it out to some space. Sophie Perry. Rapinoe trying to track her down from behind into the feet of Fiona O'Sullivan, and she will get the benefit of a call here to set up a free kick.
Rapinoe and Heath have switched sides. Rapinoe now on the left. Obviously we saw her have some great success there in the Olympics when she is able to get free and get some service off on that left side.
Numbers loaded up on the back post now here for the Republic of Ireland. Ball swung in right into the heart of the area, headed away by Tobin Heath. There won't be an immediate opportunity to serve the ball right back in as O'Gorman tracks it down on the near side. Ball will skip back into the feet of Hope Solo.
I think set pieces probably suffer a little bit when you don't have a lot of time to train. Because the last 2 chances for Ireland, nobody there but a player in a striped jersey. Not a lot of time to work on all of your different set pieces and plays that you'd like to try when you only have 1 or 2 training sessions.
A few of the players, we were told, got together in Dublin before they made the trip to come over stateside. Cheney now for Carly Lloyd. Those two starting in the central midfield today. Rapinoe tucking in to find a touch. Slips it through a tight seam, but finds the feet of Tobin Heath. And out wide, can Becky Sauerbrunn run it down? She should have time to put a touch to it right in front of Perry, and she does. Rapinoe waits for the space to open. Sauerbrunn. Cheney gets away from the first one. Out in front, Alex Morgan, number 2! Her second on the night to double the lead for the red, white, and blue.
Well, Ireland really a little unlucky here. They had Lauren Cheney bottled up right here. 2 players on. Looks like they've got the ball, but it just pops through to Cheney, and she finds a wide open Alex Morgan. I think a little lackadaisical there. They just lost her. Yvonne Tracy had been the nearest defender. She went to goal instead of sticking with Morgan. And I would think that number 13 is a player you never want to lose in the box if you're Ireland.
She has scored some huge goals for this U.S. women's national team, including that game-winning goal versus Canada in the semifinals of the London Olympics, a 4-3 win against the rivals up north. She told us yesterday that is something she will always remember. That goal, by the way, now here tonight, as I alluded to earlier, now has her level on the all-time list with her teammate Heather O'Reilly. almost exactly, Jen, 10 minutes from when she gave the U.S. a lead in the 24th minute here tonight.
Lauren Cheney does well to stick with this ball, get it back through the legs of the Irish defender, and then how wide open is she? Far too open is Alex Morgan, and she made Ireland pay. Great step in by Becky Sauerbrunn.
Here's Tobin Heath as Cheney makes the overlapping run. Well, whatever notes newly appointed head coach Tom Sermanni has made so far here tonight, he's probably got a couple of good ones about Alex Morgan.
I don't think he probably had much doubt about how good she was going to be. He's really going to be looking at the midfield and the defense.
We'll see if the defense is in fact tested to a high degree here on the night. So Hope Solo will run this one down just outside the edge of her 6. Play in towards Megan Rapinoe.
And you certainly know what you've got in that strike partnership up top with Abby Wambach and Alex Morgan. One of the most prolific scoring duos in U.S. soccer history.
Yeah, now in 2012, those two have combined for 49 goals between the two of them. The record was set in 1991 by the great Michelle Akers, who tallied 39, and Corinne Jennings-Guevara. They got the tally up to 55 in 1991. So just 6 behind that number now for Morgan and Wambach. Dangerous spot for the back heel as Tobin Heath will pick up the possession for the U.S. Mitz, chance to swing one in. Emma Byrne coming to challenge Abby with a challenge of her own in the air, but whistled for.
Byrne fearless from her goalkeeper position. I always think that it's so important to go out and establish your presence. That ball was in her box. She had to go up and grab it. And if you happen to bump with a player like Abby Wambach, then so be it. You let her know that she's in your house now.
Emma Byrne picking up her 92nd cap of her career with the Republic of Ireland here tonight. And, I think as Jen alluded to earlier, wearing the captain's band tonight in the absence of Kira Grant, who's away on holiday. O'Gorman. Halted at midfield by Heather Mintz. Just a straight giveaway. Morgan. Tippy-toe touch to push it out wide for Rapinoe. There's some space if she wants to cut it inside, and she does. Lloyd skates away from the first challenge. Couldn't keep the possession, but Cheney was there. Lets it fly from just outside the 18 and up and over the crossbar.
This is where you can see the benefit of bringing those numbers of attackers in, because when the U.S. loses possession, there's that second line of attack ready to step right in and take the ball. Lauren Cheney that time just waiting and completely unmarked. It's tough for Ireland to mark up when you've got about 10 players getting up and getting in the box, getting in on the action.
Took a little bit of time, brushing off some of the rust, if you will, for this U.S. women's national team. But they have started to dominate in fine fashion. In fact, now 8 shots to none officially for the Republic of Ireland. I think Hope Solo has probably had more touches with her feet. They've been probably counted on one hand here in the first half.
And this may be all we see of Hope Solo. May actually get a chance in talking with Jill Ellis to see Nicole Barnhart come in and get some minutes in the second half.
Mitz for Rapinoe. Tried to play it into the space for Carly Lloyd, who was making the diagonal run toward the corner flag. Christy Rampone played all 570 minutes in the Olympic campaign. Her and Kelly O'Hara were the only 2 field players to do that. Hope Solo also did it as well.
Look at the space.
Morgan looking for Abby. Rapinoe picks it up 30, 35 yards out.
You just hear Sue Ronan yelling, you've got to get tighter than that. There is too much of a cushion when the U.S. players are attacking.
Rapinoe, left foot, and never quite got the bend on it that she was looking for.
It was great watching her in training last night. She just took shot after shot from pretty much right outside the box, and there was a whole line of fans standing right behind the goal. I hope they were paying close attention, because some of those that did boom over, you know they were coming over with some pace if they were coming off Rapinoe's foot, but she just kept working them. Saw some pretty shots.
Despite the chilly conditions, you can see plenty of enthusiastic soccer fans here in the Pacific Northwest enjoying the night to see the gold medal winning U.S. women's national team. O'Gorman, see if she can use her speed here. Good job by Heather Mintz to get goal side and slow the attack, and the ball does go out for a throw for the Yanks.
But really one of the first times in this match we've seen Ireland attack up the flanks with a player like O'Gorman. I think they need to try to do a little more of that. Get something positive going here before the break, because these players need to mentally stay in this match. They're down 2-0 now, and they've got to stay focused. Still get what they can out of playing the #1 team. It's a great challenge, and you can find out perhaps how far you need to go, what you need to work on.
Cheney for Carly Lloyd. Turned into a little bit of pressure on her right shoulder from Julianne Russell, but then fed it out for Bueller. Sauerbrunn now. Heath. Mintz. Rapinoe using some of that width. Touches it around the first challenge. Whips in the ball to the near post. Alex Morgan had a look at it on the near post.
Rapinoe adds to her highlight reel. Fellas in the truck, you guys building that up? She's giving some pretty ones for these Portland fans.
Lloyd as the U.S. mounts another attack. Abby Wambach will drop it off for Lauren Cheney.
You truly appreciate the technicality of players like Rapinoe and Tobin Heath when they're in tight space and they find a way to create space for themselves.
There's a nice back heel from Carly Lloyd, defeated in for Alex Morgan. Cleared away by the Republic of Ireland. Bueller brings it right back forward, and now Cheney. Trying to combine with Carly Lloyd. Good string of possession here for the red, white, and blue. Mintz. Emma Byrne came to it at the edge of the 6. Actually, I think it was a collision with one of her own defenders in Yvonne Tracy.
Agreed. And Tracy was trying so hard to make sure she stayed in front of Abby Wambach, who kind of got in the way of her goalkeeper.
Ball just does dip over the line here on the near sideline. We're just about 2 minutes and change away from hitting the halftime.
Some of those highlight reel moves I was talking about, and figuring out a way to get around a defender coming at you. You sometimes have to reach into your bag of tricks. A little one touch, a stop and go. There's plenty of different things you can do, and that was a nice one by Rapinoe.
Well, she wasn't shy to talk about how it's been a series of ups and downs. Is there a hat trick already here in the first half for Morgan? First time, no! Second time, yes! Alex Morgan putting on a show. The U.S. lead 3-0.
Abby Wambach getting things started for her strike mate, and some space for the left foot. It gets deflected, and Alex Morgan just stays with it, and so smart there. Her body falling back a little bit. She still keeps the ball on the ground, just puts it toward the corner and out of Byrne's reach.
23 years of age, the hat trick on the night for Alex Morgan in the opening 44 minutes of play. I have a feeling if she stays on, she's going to add another one in the 54th. I was about to say about Megan Rapinoe talking about her ups and downs here in 2012, and not just mentally for her as far as her confidence, but also in terms of how much she played on the field. Wasn't playing a lot early on in the season, but she has steadily not only regained that confidence over the last 8 months or so, but on the field her play has been fantastic, including here tonight.
Well, she's a player, the way, the style, the unpredictability that she plays with, she has mistakes. Now, those mistakes have been reduced as her confidence and her playing time has grown, but she said, yeah, you know, I don't have to worry if I do make a mistake that I'm going to get yanked. Playing 20 minutes is not, that didn't work for me. I think it really upset her, and she remained confident, but never quite got into the rhythm that she has been in recently.
And you have to think for Tom Sermanni, him watching this one from afar, from down in Australia, that's the type of player he's going to try and add more of those types of players into the equation for the U.S. women's national team.
But you do need a good mix. You need a variety, and that's where you've got to look at all of these different types of midfielders. You've got that great speed and work rate of a player like Heather O'Reilly, who I expect we'll see in the second half, the technicality of a player like Tobin Heath.
Free kick here for the red and white and blue, just outside of, call it right on 30 yards probably. Carly Lloyd, direct effort right into the wall for the Republic of Ireland. Rapinoe there to pick the possession up.
We've seen Carly Lloyd strike the goal from a free kick before. She really strikes a hard ball, and certainly well within her range to have taken a shot there.
Stepping up in a big moment again for the Stars and Stripes. The 2 goals and the 2-1 win in the gold medal final against Japan. The whistle from Katia Koroleva brings the first half to a close, and Alex Morgan with 3 goals in the opening 45 minutes, 24th, 34th, 44th minute of play. Jen, it took a little while, but I think the rust is gone.
Yeah, I think the U.S. has got to be pretty happy with what they were able to put out there in the first half to get the 3 goals, to get their backs a little more aggressive and up into the attack. Now they just need to keep that up, keep that aggression up, and do what you came here to do, which was to put on a show for these fans.
Well, let's go downstairs and check in with Kat Whitehill. She has the hat trick hero.
Yeah, well, we're here with Alex Morgan, and it's amazing here. You scored a hat trick. It took a little while. Tell us a little bit about those goals.
Yeah, it took a little while to get on the board, but once we did, I mean, I felt it. I was comfortable, and I just wanted to keep taking shots, and they kept going my way.
Yeah, you got a little bit of space in there. We started talking a little bit about the rust and how it's been over a month since this team got together. One of the hardest things to do in soccer is to score goals. There's no rust there. What did you do in that break?
I think that there was definitely a little rust at first, but we wanted to be out here. We've been waiting. We've been itching to get on the field, so I think it showed that we just wanted to come out here and play and give back to our fans.
Well, good job.
Alex Morgan, 3 goals in the first half, including this one coming in the 24th minute of play. That would be her 35th ever. She would add 2 more. The U.S. leading 3-0 at the break. There will be plenty of substitutions coming into the game, probably for both teams, but to begin the second half here for the Stars and Stripes. Alex Morgan now sitting in 12th place all time. Nicole Barnhart will start the second half. First time that she has seen action since March when she started a game against Sweden. Looks like Shannon Box is also going to come in. She'll make her 176th appearance in a U.S. national team jersey on the night. And Heather O'Reilly, hey-oh, standing right next to her there. The 27-year-old attacking midfielder from New Jersey. And then there's Kelly O'Hara, 2009 Herman Trophy winner at Stanford. Speaking of Stanford, Nicole Barnhart with a pretty good career in her college days, playing there in Northern California. She spent a lot of the time, Jen, as a backup to Hope Solo, and for good reason. Hope Solo, arguably the best in the world. And she had a crucial campaign in 2010. She saw 11 matches that year. And she'll get a good 45 minutes against the Republic of Ireland here in the second half tonight.
Getting time in matches like this is important for your backup goalkeeper, because you do need to make sure you keep them in top form. They get most of that in training, but there's nothing like game minutes.
Well, continuing the theme from our pregame show and into the first half and now the second half. Remember, this is the beginning of the audition process with newly appointed head coach Tom Sermanni watching from a distance. Not here tonight, but he will be joining the team later in the Fan Tribute Tour to watch in person. Second half underway following the whistle from Katia Koroleva as the U.S. lead 3-0 after goals in the 24th, 34th, and 44th minute of play from Alex Morgan, the 23-year-old from Diamond Bar, California. That's just east of Orange County. Let's check in downstairs with Kat Whitehill.
Thanks, guys. I actually talked to Coach Jill Ellis about the game. I asked her what she thought, and she said, well, to be honest, the first couple of minutes were a bit sloppy. I almost wanted to take a timeout and be like, everybody, you just need to wake up a bit. Once the first goal kind of was scored, it kind of settled everybody down, and she said that she was very pleased once that happened, but she did make a lot of substitutions, hoping to kind of put players up more. She wants Becky Sauerbrunn and Kelly O'Hara to get high. They don't need them back anymore. Get the outside backs up as much as possible.
Kat, you know a lot of these players coming in, Shannon Box, Heather O'Reilly, Amy Rodriguez, former teammates of yours. How much will the tactics or the play change with those players coming in?
Well, you're going to see a lot of speed coming in and out with Heather O'Reilly, especially Kelly O'Hara. That's a lot of attacking players that they want to get in, outside players that they want to get that quick ball in. Jill Ellis also talked about how the service just wasn't good enough. So putting those players in, that's going to give you that quality. And then bringing Cheney up top for Abby Wambach. She's going to she'll play that 2 forward with Alex Morgan, but she's going to kind of sit in a little bit and behind her. She's used to that midfielder role, so she's going to connect very well with Shannon Box and Carly Lloyd in the center mid.
Lauren Cheney was a fantastic striker in her collegiate career with UCLA, and she continued that role playing in the early couple of years in WPS, but she has turned into a great facilitator in the midfield for this team as well.
And no doubt one thing all coaches love is versatility, because you want to get your best players on the field, and if you're a player like Lauren Cheney and you can slide around at different spaces in the midfield, and talk about versatility.
Yes.
Kelly O'Hara, a converted forward, getting back on defense, and she has been strong back there. This was the first match she didn't start since back in June. Played every minute, as you mentioned, in the Olympics.
Here is O'Hara on the ball, swings it across for Becky Sauerbrunn, who will move from the left back spot to the right back spot here in the second half. Interesting about Kelly O'Hara out of Fayetteville, Georgia. I was with her early in the summer at the training session for Stanford, and she brought her gold medal out, and you should have seen the eyes open and the jaws drop from some of her former teammates and even players that she didn't play with that she was there with. I mean, the pictures lasted almost 2 hours from all these players wanting to get shots of not just Kelly but also the gold medal.
Yeah, of course. I'd be wearing that thing around if I had one. I know you would too.
Absolutely I would.
You couldn't peel those things off of us.
Just underway in the second half here at Geldwin Field, home to the Portland Timbers in Major League Soccer. Bueller a little bit of a heavy touch there. But tonight it's all about the Stars and Stripes. 3-0 so far against the 34th ranked team in the FIFA World Rankings in the Republic of Ireland. A team that is in a bit of a rebuilding process themselves. They do have some veteran players, but a lot of young players trying to make their mark, and really a team that is going to focus on qualifying for the next World Cup, as they were knocked out of qualifying for the UEFA European Championships recently. Box moves away from the initial pressure. Sauerbrunn back now for Shannon Box. A true pros pro. What a veteran for this team. Lloyd picks up the possession herself. Thought she was going to leave it there for Megan Rapinoe. Alex Morgan will leave it for Rapinoe. Great idea to try and slip it through a tight seam for Lauren Cheney. Here's Rapinoe one more time from the edge of the 18. O'Reilly, her first touches as a substitute. Gets away from some traffic. Now into some open space for Becky Sauerbrunn. On to the back post. Alex Morgan! Thought maybe she had number 4.
I did too. Great effort to go up and get that ball.
Well, you know, it wasn't on the 54th minute, so.
A little early.
Kelly O'Hara saw her practicing that exact ball at training last night. Overcooked that one as it goes all the way out to the far side.
She certainly has no problem getting up and getting across.
The U.S. will reset things with the ball back for Rachel Bueller. O'Reilly. Morgan. Emma the burn, thought about coming for a moment, but the ball slipped far enough wide. She was able to retreat back in goal. Here's Alex Morgan. Lloyd, tough to bring it down with some pressure there and a lot of traffic around her.
Probably needed to direct her first touch a little bit better. She put it down at her feet, a little out in front of her, and didn't really have a lot of room to work with.
Christy Rampone swinging it in toward the near post. Pushed away by Louise Quinn. Let's go back and take a look at that last chance. As I said, almost number 4 on the night for Alex Morgan.
And what I love about this is that Ireland gets a body up on her, and she still goes up and tries to get that ball. Doesn't give up on it when she feels a little contact.
Cheney double teamed in the corner. Shannon Smith, another player with some U.S. ties, has come into the game now for the Republic of Ireland. Plays her club ball in Norway with Amazon Grimstad. Ball collected by Nifahi. Rapinoe kicks it into another gear, pushing forward. Carly Lloyd, pressure from behind. And it was a much needed pressure. Maeve de Burka came in at the last possible moment to make sure that there wasn't going to be a clean opportunity for Carly Lloyd to put a shot on frame.
I think that's going to be a big adjustment that the Irish have to make in this second half, is to step up and really pressure the ball, especially when the U.S. gets close or inside the box.
There was a shot there for a moment of the aforementioned Shannon Smith.
And you know those players born in this country, just a little extra for them when they come back and get to play on the soil. Prove something.
You see hometown of Milwaukee, Wisconsin for the 25-year-old. Yeah, there was no question, I think, that some of the older players, if you could even call them older, for this Republic of Ireland team, talking about last night, that they had to remind some of the younger players. These girls, you may have seen them on TV referring to the U.S. women's national team, but they're human just like us. Good entry pass there from McDonald, who's another player that has come on. Spent some time recently with the Chicago Red Stars. Both her and her sister on the roster here for the Republic of Ireland. This Fiona O'Sullivan heads that one down.
But Ireland able to keep possession a little bit there, get a couple of balls into the box. And that was something they really didn't do much of in the first half.
Meanwhile, closer here to the benches on the near sideline, Megan Rapinoe. Like maybe she picked up a slight knock, trying to defend for a moment there for the Stars and Stripes. Keep an eye on her. 54th minute of play now. See if Alex Morgan and this U.S. women's national team can keep the trend going. 24th, 34th, 44th. All 3 goals on the night coming from Alex Morgan to run her tally to 27 goals just in 2012 alone.
Alex certainly looking no worse for the wear after taking what she told us last night was a much needed break. Just kind of get away for a little bit. You know, this has been a long time these players have been going, and they all finally got some time to themselves away from the field.
O'Hara pushing forward. Initial service is pushed away. Shannon Box. Great movement to cut it back onto her left foot. Couldn't quite slip it through for Alex Morgan. Rapinoe. And now some width into the feet of O'Hara. Drives it in onto the back post. Headed away by Quinn. Still alive in the area.
Both outside backs for the U.S. involved in that attack. That's exactly what Kat talked about when she talked to Jill Ellis at the half, and that we have talked about. Being aggressive, getting your players, getting numbers up. Both Kelly O'Hara and Becky Sauerbrunn involved.
Rapinoe on the ball for Shannon Box. Well, Well, 10 minutes gone now into the second half. I think one thing, if you're a U.S. fan and even the coaching staff, Tom Sermanni watching from afar, do they back off the accelerator a little bit here because you are up 3-0?
I don't think you want to. You definitely don't want to see that. And if you sense that a little bit, then maybe you work some of those substitutions, you get in their ears a little bit, because no, there's no reason. You do not want to take your foot off the accelerator. For one thing, you don't ever want to train your body how to play that way. You always want to keep going strong.
Lloyd. Morgan delayed her run just enough toward the end line, cutting it back in front. Loose ball. Emma Byrne pounces on it inside the 6.
Boy, Morgan almost adding to her assist total with that ball. And we've got a couple of players slow to get up.
Heather O'Reilly trying to put her body into the fray to see if she could get any piece of it to knock it into the back of the net. Carly Lloyd was in the mix as well.
Alex Morgan is just so relentless, but so much pressure on defenses with the runs that she makes, and the Irish decide to go all out and try to slide tackle that ball away. That just left it wide open. It was all or nothing on that defensive play for Ireland, and it wound up opening up a lot of something for Alex Morgan.
Good vision there, trying to turn into provider as she played it into a perfect space right at the top of the 6. And meanwhile, 24-year-old Maeve de Burka picking up her 23rd cap for the Republic of Ireland. Had to be attended to by the training staff for the girls in green. And it looks like she's going to give way to Kira Grant. You mentioned it in the first half. Junior Kira Grant.
Yes, the Kira Grant, who is the all-time caps leader for Ireland, not here with her team today. This will be the first international appearance. For this Kira Grant, or Junior, as they call it.
Well, a young player, just 19 years of age, plays her club soccer with Rahi United FC. And talk about being thrown right into the fire. You step on to make your debut with the senior national team for the Republic of Ireland, and you face the #1 team in the world. If that wasn't enough, they're dominating possession and leading 3-0. Rapinoe trying to keep the ball in play, but it skates out for a throw for the girls in green. Two more changes coming for Jill Ellis, the interim manager. Sydney Leroux. It's a Pac-12 substitution right there. Sydney Leroux, UCLA, coming on to replace Alex Morgan. Listen to the ovation.
Well, Alex Morgan put on quite a show. Sydney Leroux's been pretty tough for this team coming in off the bench. Certainly one of those rising stars and a player anxious to go out and show her new coach what she can do.
And as you heard from the ovation as well, Megan Rapinoe, the former Portland Pilot in her college days, stepping off to make way for Amy Rodriguez.
And no doubt a lot of those cheers directed for Rapinoe as well. Hometown favorite. And I think Amy Rodriguez is one of those players who really does need to make the most of every minute she gets on the field. I think she needs to prove that she still belongs on this team. And it's tough to get in there when you've got those two talented players up top and you've got a player like Sydney Leroux who's really an up-and-coming player. Amy Rodriguez needing to prove she belongs.
Cheney pressuring the ball. The Irish playing direct up and over the top. Sauerbrunn there to push it away, but out of the reach of Heather O'Reilly. Well, it's been a lot about Alex Morgan so far here tonight in Portland. The second hat trick of her U.S. national team career, and she's now on 37 goals despite the fact that she has only played officially 54 times for the red, white, and blue. She you saw from the graphic there, she sits alone 12th all time, but now she's only a couple of tallies behind her teammate Carly Lloyd, who sits on 41. O'Hara on toward the back post. Sauerbrunn will keep it in the zone. Shannon Box. Rampone. O'Hara. Just over the head and in towards Sydney Leroux. Right back in from Heather O'Reilly. An hour gone on the night, 3-0 U.S. against the Republic of Ireland. Let's check in downstairs with the third member of our crew, Kat Whitehill.
Thanks. With all those substitutions, a little bit of a tactical change coming from Coach Gillis. They're going to a 3-4-3. The reason for that is they still want to keep those attacking players high, get as many runners on the outside as possible. I'm also hearing her say Boxy hold a little bit more, so Shannon Box is going to hold a little bit on the center defensive midfielder position, but you're going to see Christy Rampone on the left, Rachel Bueller in the middle, and Becky Sauerbrunn on the right. So 3-4-3 because there's only one Republic of Ireland player up front.
So Kat, going to just those three at the back, do you expect still maybe one of those three to try and push forward, given the numbers that the Republic of Ireland aren't pushing forward?
Yeah, absolutely. You're going to see them going forward as much as possible. There is going to be a limited amount of space now that you have Kelly O'Hara and Heather O'Reilly out there. Their space is going to be just a bit limited, but you will see, as you're watching right now, Becky Sauerbrun's trying to get around Heather O'Reilly to get in there.
O'Reilly swinging it in, Sydney Leroux to make it 4-0. It's going to be a dynamic duo for the future. Leroux and Morgan, get used to those names, soccer fans.
Sydney Leroux has been a phenomenal addition to this team. When she comes in off the bench, she makes a difference. She just is patient here. She waits for Heather O'Reilly to make her move and then fights her way into that goal and slams it home. This is what Heather O'Reilly does so well. She can just get that burst, get end line, get a cross in, and you see Leroux just redirecting it away from the goalkeeper. Beautiful finish.
Leroux also scored a huge goal in the Olympic journey over the summer in London. And in fact, Abby Wambach, her teammate, called it one of the flashbulb moments of the Olympic experience this summer. The expression on Sydney Leroux, who's the youngest player on the roster, the expression on her face when she hit that big goal in the Olympic quarterfinals.
And Abby kind of joked and said, you know, we all get in there and we kind of practice our celebrations in the locker room of what we'll do after goals, and I thought
only I did
that. you still do it. I think she was saying Sydney Leroux was just so natural. It was just so in the moment, and what a moment for that young player.
Had the option to play for the U.S. or Canada because each of her parents is from those respective countries. And as I said, that's going to be the former UCLA Bruin, a name I think you think about it, Jen, combining with Alex Morgan. Not to say that Abby Wambach isn't very firmly still in the picture, but
right.
For the next, you could say 8 to 10 years even, those two players, Leroux, 22 years old, Alex Morgan, 23 years old.
Well, and we've seen the U.S. experiment at times with those three up top, with putting three players up top. They're in that formation now without Abby Wambach on the field. But Tom Sermanni has said in some of his introductory press conferences that one of the things he'd like to do is to be able to be versatile enough to play in a few different systems. So it's important for the U.S. to change things up a bit.
Amy Rodriguez keeps it in play in the near side corner. Looking for some options in the air. There's Leroux, glancing header towards Heather O'Reilly at the back post. U.S. will keep it in the zone. Kelly O'Hara. Cheney. Lloyd. Crowded corners around the middle part of the 18. Rodriguez serving it onto the back post. Couple numbers there. Follow-up chance from Shannon Box will go wide, and a goal kick. Going back to your comments, I mean, think about that. Abby Wambach playing the central prong of three up top, and you've got Alex Morgan on one side and Sydney Leroux on the other side. I mean, pick your poison if you're an opponent.
And the beauty of those three players is that they are more versatile than what you might initially think. As I mentioned earlier with Abby Wambach, a player who is so good in the air. I mean, all of those players, you just saw how good in the air Sydney Leroux is. And the runs that Alex Morgan makes, the speed of both of those players, Morgan and Leroux. How do you get all your best players on the field? And is Sydney Leroux making a case that maybe she's one of them? Maybe she's ready.
Abby Wambach, by the way, just 10 goals behind Mia Hamm for the all-time tally in goals scored in a Stars and Stripes kit. .66 minute of play. U.S. have made a host of changes to enter the second stanza of play, including Amy Rodriguez and Shannon Box, who you saw a moment ago. And one of those substitutes, Sydney Leroux, adding a fourth tally on the night here at Geldwin Field. These two teams will go head-to-head again in Glendale, Arizona. First corner on the night upcoming here for the Republic of Ireland.
And really a mistake made by Nicole Barnhart there. Either get that ball and save it so you're going to stay in bounds, or just let it go harmlessly out of bounds for a goal kick. That's why you need to get your backup keeper in there. Give Hope Solo a break. Give your backup keeper a chance to get in there and make some saves and make good decisions.
A break for Hope Solo has been a rare thing this year. Loose ball, and actually the Irish national team comes in powerfully with Louise Quinn there to try and win that ball, but it goes wide of the post. I haven't seen too many looks of chances for the visitors tonight.
Well, a set piece giving them one here. It's a high service, far post, a couple of players in. Louise Quinn maybe not even the intended target there.
McDonald was also there in the space, but it was Quinn who won it. Emma Byrne has been pretty busy on the night for 67.5 minutes. Provided a couple of solid saves early on in the game if you missed it here tonight. But then in the 24th minute, Alex Morgan broke things open with the first of her three. Sauerbrunn sliding over to defend against Shannon Smith, knocked out for a throw. Well, we talked about it in the pregame show with Kate Markgraf and third member of our crew, Kat Whitehill, along with John Strong, and talking about that the defense was something that would have to make some adjustments over the course of not just tonight, but going forward when they're under the guidance of Tom Sermanni. How have they done so far tonight?
Yeah, I think it's been interesting to see. And granted, Ireland hasn't been able to put up very much of a stiff test. And so what the U.S. then wanted to see in this match was some more aggression out of their outside backs. Now, there's going to be a lot of other dimensions you're going to have to look at back there in terms of speed and how all the players fit in. I mean, we haven't even seen Amy Lepelbet, who's been a fixture on that back line, how they all work together, how their spacing is, good decision making. I think that's been something that you haven't really had a chance to see as well in this match.
Quinn steps in to clear it. Denise O'Sullivan holding it here for the girls in green under some pressure with Shannon Box on her back. Fiona O'Sullivan knocking it down, but there's the U.S. to regain possession at midfield. Kat Whitehill, how would you say the defense is done? Yeah, you speak from the best perspective of all. You've suited up there in a Stars and Stripe kit across the back line.
Yeah, I agree with Jen's point. There hasn't been a stiff test coming from the Republic of Ireland too well tonight, so it's hard to really assess it. But I actually talked to Jill Ellis at halftime, and she did discuss how she didn't like how some of the outside backs weren't getting forward enough, and she wants to see more of that, and they want to see if they can keep getting forward, try as hard as they can. So even in a game like this, Jill Ellis wasn't as pleased as she wanted to be with the outside backs, and that's one of the things that Tom Sermanni is really going to focus on when he comes into tenure, is how he's going to play with the outside backs and who he's going to play in those positions.
Good stuff down there, Kat, as we tick toward 70 minutes gone behind us here tonight. Julianne Russell The young 21-year-old midfielder knocked to the turf here at Jeld-Wen Field for a moment, but back up onto her feet.
And really, if you think about it, Mark, that's the first time you've called Julianne Russell's name, and she's one of the players that I had highlighted after talking to their manager, Sue Ronan, before the match, as someone who they wanted to play through in those moments they did get in the attack. They wanted to get it out wide and play through Russell, and really haven't been able to do that.
Well, I think her, and then the other one centrally is Diane Caldwell, the 24-year-old who plays for the Toppserien in Norway, the top division in Norwegian women's soccer. She also played her college soccer in the state of New York at Hofstra University. She has hardly had her name called, probably because she's been trying to do a lot of defensive work. Uh-oh, could be a mistake here at the back. Barnhart was late to come and somehow scrambles to send it away. Becky Sauerbrunn never even knew there was an attacking Republic of Ireland player coming from over her shoulder.
You've got to be aware of where the opponent is, especially in a quick change situation like that. Nicole Barnhart showing a little shakiness. Still has a clean sheet to show for it.
O'Hara heads it down for Rampone. Ball intended there for Lauren Cheney. Pressure from Rachel Bueller. Actually, both you and Kat were just talking about the fact that the Republic of Ireland hasn't put much of a stiff test for this defensive unit tonight here for the U.S. women's national team. More, actually, both your comments talking about both of them, their abilities to get forward as a back line. Well, they were almost exposed for a moment. We'll take a look at it in just a moment. Cheney, return pass for O'Hara in the space. First time onto the back post. Knocked away.
Cheney is such a good distributor and knows where her teammates are around her.
A lot of frustration for Fiona O'Sullivan here tonight. The former University of San Francisco Don was pretty eager to show what she could do against this U.S. team coming into the night. She's been living on an island against 3 and sometimes 4 defenders for the U.S. throughout the course of the night here in Portland. That's Diane Caldwell, the player we were talking about earlier, who we haven't called her name in the central midfield too often on the night. Box, Lloyd, good vision on the early ball to the edge of the area for Cheney. Now Rodriguez. O'Reilly, ears pinned back, lost it on toward the back post. Lloyd to get there first, headed away.
Timing on that header just a bit off for Carly Lloyd. She got too much under it and not enough behind it to get that power and bring it down toward goal.
Fox sprays it back out to the space on the far side. O'Reilly trying to serve it one more time. Cheney, the glancing header to flick it on toward the back post. A small glimpse of a counter now here for the Irish. Trying to play into some space for Denise O'Sullivan, who was running out the space. Bueller gives it away at the back. Fiona O'Sullivan. There is Caldwell. Blindly playing it in onto the back of the 6-yard box. Let's go back and take a look at that chance. Almost a chance for the visitors to get on the board.
A couple shaky moments here in the second half. This was the one a few moments ago where Nicole Barnhart came out, but she either needed to decide to come earlier or to hold back and let her defense help her. But that means players like Becky Sauerbrunn have got to be aware of where the opponents are. And on that last play a moment ago, Sauerbrunn again had kind of given up on it. You've got to stay focused.
O'Hara trying to play into the feet of Sydney LaRue. Versus 2 game down here in the corner, of the offside flag comes up against Lauren Cheney. memory serves me right, that might be the first offside call of the night.
I think you are correct.
And it is, as Shaw Brown, a producer, confirms in the truck, as we'll tick into the final quarter of an hour here tonight in Portland. Fox wins the first one in the air. Denise O'Sullivan to knock it down. Shannon Smith fends off the first challenge, cutting onto her right foot and letting the shot go, but it's deflected back toward the feet of Nicole Barnhart.
And I appreciate Mary Trace McDonald giving us a chance to assess that U.S. defense a little bit. You know, Sauerbrun's decision making. Do I hold back? Do I step up? We were very critical of the Irish for that in the first half, and I think they have done a better job of stepping in and not allowing the U.S. to have as much of a cushion when they're attacking.
Well, tonight's game marking the beginning of the second half of the 10-game fan tribute tour. As I mentioned, these two teams will go at it again in Arizona on Saturday, a game you'll see here on Fox Soccer. And then 3 straight matches in December to finish up the tour, all with China, culminating with a game in Boca Raton. In fact, we'll have one of those 3, the game in Houston, the penultimate game on the 10-game tour.
Well, it took a while to get our first offside flag, but we get a couple in a row there as the U.S. defense quick to step up.
Christy Rampone, who earns cap number 272 tonight, the captain for the U.S. women's national team. She's now tied with Julie Foudy for 3rd all time. O'Hara skips past the first challenge, plays it in for Cheney. I think that's the ball that Lauren Cheney wanted to hit, not far enough away from Emma Byrne.
Right, great idea, but either get it further away from the goalkeeper, because that was way too easy for Byrne to come out and save, or hit it earlier.
A little less than 13 minutes to go in regulation. Looks like the U.S. are in pretty good shape to make it 9 straight wins all time against the Republic of Ireland, a series that dates all the way back to 1999 when they first played at Foxborough. 5-0 win on the night that evening, and we're a goal away from the same scoreline here tonight in Portland. O'Reilly, who assisted on the 4th goal on the night early on in this second half. Now O'Hara. As you would expect, it's been a lot of one-way traffic. Field heavily tilted in favor of the Stars and Stripes. Sauerbrunn looking for Kelly O'Hara. Sydney Leroux picks up the loose ball. Cheney now. O'Reilly just behind the attacking run from Shannon Box. The U.S. has used up all of their allotted 6 substitutions on the match here tonight, so these are the players that'll finish this one up here at Jeld-Wen Field. Leroux, pass behind her, but she adjusts her body to keep it alive. O'Reilly, and into the gloves of Emma Byrne. The Republic of Ireland keeper came strong to pull it out of the Portland air. Byrne, as we detailed in the first half, one of several players on this Republic of Ireland team that play their club soccer with the Arsenal ladies side. Well, aside from the obvious here tonight, as we'll tick into the final 10 minutes, Alex Morgan, clearly has been one of the most impactful and impressive players, but if you're looking at it from a different perspective, maybe not just numbers-wise, who have you liked here tonight?
Sure. Well, we've been talking about, who's going to stand out to Tom Sermanni and why. I think one of the players is Lauren Cheney. I've been very impressed with her distribution of the ball. She's played in a couple of different positions. I like what Kelly O'Hara has brought since she entered the game and getting up into the attack. I think those are two that have really stood out for me.
You could probably also add Carly Lloyd's name to that mix, facilitating from a central midfield role. There she is on the ball for a moment.
And that's an important role. I want to see who really does well there. Both Carly Lloyd, Shannon Box. Who do you work in there? Who do you like having in the mix right off the bat in that midfield position?
Russell sends it in, and there's Barnhart. Well, the player that's been closest to the, or person that's been closest to the action, I should say, has been our own Kat Whitehill. Kat, what have you thought tonight of some of the performances?
Yeah, you have to mention Sydney LaRue as well. She's been one of those players. She hasn't had a lot of touches on a ball, but sometimes that's the life of a forward. You get one touch, and if you score on that one touch, then that's pretty brilliant. And she brings that to the table for this team. And you talked a little bit about how special she is as a player, and scoring goals like that makes her special.
She's helping facilitate another chance here. Left foot, and it'll get through into the back of the net for her second on the night. Probably should have been saved by Emma Byrne, but it's now 5-0. We could call it the LaRue and Morgan show here tonight.
Nice timing. Kat Whitehill on cue. Sydney LaRue gets the ball and gets it in the back of the net. And you're right, absolutely, this should have been saved. But it's good movement again from the U.S. Good wherewithal to know where Sydney LaRue is. She doesn't have to make a difficult run. She just steps into the space in front of her, side foots it with her left foot, and that is a save Emma Byrne could probably make in her sleep.
12th goal of her U.S. women's national team career. As tonight she's picking up her 24th cap with the Stars and Stripes. And I think it was just a few minutes ago I was saying we're not far from that 1999 matchup between these two teams in Foxborough, Massachusetts, a 5-0 win. Now we're there. LaRue, maybe not done yet. Tracks this one down. Rodriguez was calling for it at the heart of the area. O'Hara couldn't get it off her feet quick enough, but a great tackle from the former Stanford product to win it back. LaRue this time driving it in. Skips off the header of Amy Rodriguez. Shannon Box trying to keep it alive. And Emma Byrne tracks it down on the far side of the 18.
You can see why Kelly O'Hara has become a mainstay in this back line. Not getting the start tonight simply because, as Jill Ellis told me, you know what, I just want to give everybody a chance. This is the time to do it. They've worked in different players on this victory tour. She's brought in Becky Sauerbrunn and Heather Mitz off the bench. She gave them both a chance to start this match tonight, but Kelly O'Hara, the dimension that she brings when she gets into that attacking third is above and beyond the rest of the defenders, in my opinion.
And Jen, you alluded to it early here in the second half when she came on talking about versatility. Folks, this is a striker her entire career, including winning the Herfman Trophy with Stanford in 2009. She's been converted to an outside back, and she has adapted to that position wonderfully. Throw it midfield for the Irish national team. Kira Grant earned her first cap on the night, despite the fact losing 5-0 against the U.S. women's national team. You always remember your first, and she'll be thinking about this one and looking back on remembering on a chilly night in Portland, picking up that first cap for the girls in green. O'Sullivan. Double team down in the corner. Lloyd trying to poke it away. The veteran Rampone sliding over to clear it out towards midfield.
Christy Rampone, quietly impressive as always, I think, in the center of that U.S. defense much of this match. She's slid out as they've gone to 3. But in terms of directing traffic back there, keeping everybody organized, always does a tremendous job of that.
Fiona O'Sullivan running right at Rachel Bueller. Just over the head on a nice ball. Diane Caldwell trying to climb the ladder to head that one in towards Nicole Barnhart in the U.S. goal. So some of the storylines for newly appointed head coach Tom Sermanni to think about. Alex Morgan now into 12th all-time on the goals scored list for the U.S. women's national team, despite just playing now 54 times. Her 3 goals gave the U.S. a 3-0 lead heading into halftime, and Sydney Leroux has now added 2 to make it 5-0. Leroux up to 12 goals all-time with the U.S. national team, but 11 of those have come off the bench this year, and that is a new record for the U.S. women's national team.
And that is something you love to have in your pocket as well. You love to have a goal scorer coming off the bench, someone who can play in that position and doesn't mind, not being in the starting lineup, but can give you that spark when you need it in the second half.
Ala scoring in the quarterfinals of the Olympic Games this summer.
Exactly.
O'Hara cuts onto her left foot. Can she get it across to the far post? Cut out at the near post by Emma Byrne. I'd have to say, you would expect the 3 final games against China in this fan tribute tour following winning the gold medal this summer will give probably the defense for the U.S. in particular a little more of a test. Remember, those teams met a couple of times during the summer in the run-up to getting ready to head to the Olympic Games. O'Reilly, good diagonal run toward the inline from Cheney Leroux. Wouldn't that have completed the storyline? 2 hat tricks from the young strikers for the U.S.
Well, Cheney gave a beautiful setup ball, but the Irish defense placed exactly where they needed to be to prevent the one touch from Leroux right into that corner of the goal.
Second corner on the night for the Yanks. By the time Heather O'Reilly puts it in play, we will be into the 88th minute here at Geldwin Field. Near post ball. O'Hara hit it. Second chance still brewing. That one drifts out for a goal kick for Emma Byrne in the Republic of Ireland. I was talking about China. 4-1 was the win back in late May.
Here's that service off the corner kick, bends out. I was going to say a little more maybe than Heather O'Reilly wanted, but actually Kelly O'Hara was right there to run onto it. Got a clear look at the ball. And Emma Byrne giving up a deflection there. She had the goal from Sydney Leroux that really should have been saved. She's lost form a little bit as this match has gone on, I think. And it's not always easy to stay mentally focused back there as a goalkeeper, especially when you see a tough hill to climb in front of you at a big goal deficit.
In addition to facing the #1 team in the world in the U.S. women's national team, also tough for a lot of these players, for the girls in green, facing the travel coming over here stateside as well. Good cut move from O'Hara onto the back post. Byrne got a fingertip to it, but the offside flag was already up against the U.S. Sydney Leroux applauds the service, though, from Kelly O'Hara anyway.
To go back to Byrne for a moment, these young players for Ireland are going to look to their veterans to see how they respond in matches like this, and they're going to have to play this U.S. team again in a couple of days. And if you see your veterans losing focus a little bit, if you see them getting their heads down, well, then the young players are going to follow suit. Byrne needs to set an example, keep that focus. Fiona O'Sullivan, same thing up top. She's still been going hard every chance she's gotten the ball. And that's going to be important as this young Irish team grows.
Into the final minutes of regulation. We're being told 2 minutes minimum of stoppage time is the early indication from the 4th official, Ronald LeGraf. Plenty of time for the U.S. to add a 6th. Rodriguez driving the ball across the 6. Yvonne Tracy sending it away. Carly Lloyd dumps it back into the zone, but into the gloves on one hop for Emma Byrne.
I think Amy Rodriguez glanced over her shoulder, see if the flag was going up. She saw that it wasn't. She continued on. And the movement for the U.S. players off the ball has gotten a little bit stagnant. Runs not there like they were early in this match.
Again, these two teams will meet on Saturday right here on Fox Soccer as they will match up in Glendale, Arizona at the University of Phoenix Stadium. It's official, 2 minutes minimum of stoppage time to close out the game here tonight at Geldwin Field. Cheney turns, LaRue gets the inside track. Byrne comes up with the save this time, still alive though. Cheney chipping on toward the back post. Louise Quinn stepping right to it to head it clear.
Now, Byrne had to make that save because she hesitated. That ball was a little too far out in front of LaRue. Byrne should have come out and gotten it off the ground before LaRue ever got to it.
LaRue might get another crack at another one though here. Cheney feeding it into the space, and Byrne is there again to smother it at the edge of the 6.
Better done there by Byrne. She came out and took it away. But this first ball, I watched it and I thought, oh, great idea by Cheney. She slides it through, but it's a little too heavy. Look at it, right? That keeper's got to be coming out. She had hesitated. She stopped at the corner of her box, and that was why she had to make a difficult save.
Looks like one final change coming for the Republic of Ireland as Risha Littlejohn has stepped up in between the benches. A whistle from Katja Koroleva will stop play. And that should give the opportunity for Risha Littlejohn to come on. She'll pick up her 6th cap of her Republic of Ireland career. Risha playing in Scotland, her club soccer, Glasgow City FC.
Little smile on her face, just appreciating the chance to get in, if only for a minute or two.
Well, still the opportunity maybe to show a flash of brilliance here or there, and then maybe she sees a little more playing time come Saturday in the rematch in Arizona. Here she is with the touch. Cuts away from Shannon Box, trying to shoulder off Kelly O'Hara. There's the final whistle to bring the action to a close here at Geldwin Field. 2 goals in the second half from Sydney LaRue. You add in Alex Morgan's brilliance of a hat trick in the opening 45 minutes, Jen, and it all adds up to a 5-0 win.
Yeah, I think the U.S. got what they needed to out of this match. When I talked to Shannon Box beforehand, I said, what do you need? The first thing she said, of course, was a win. And the U.S. did it in dominating fashion. I mean, Ireland was never really in this match, and we saw some individual brilliance in the attacking players with Alex Morgan and Sydney LaRue. Some movement by the defense to get up into the attack. Some good things to build on going forward.
And I think the fans here at Geldwin Field certainly enjoyed the entertaining display of soccer from the Stars and Stripes here on the night. Let's go and check in with one player that's very fond of the Portland area. We go downstairs with Kat Whitehill. She's standing by with Megan Rapinoe.
Thanks, guys. Megan, you're playing in front of your hometown. Tell me, how does that feel?
Oh, it's so rare, I think, to get to actually play in front of your hometown from a home crowd. Obviously, I have deep roots here. It feels nice. I feel like I can look up in the face or look up in the crowd, see so many smiling faces.
Well, it took a little while, but you finally got some goals tonight. And talk a little bit about Alex Morgan and Sydney LaRue, 2 amazing young players.
I know, right? It's just like give them anything and they're scoring. Yeah, I think our tempo is pretty slow to start with, and once we kind of increased that, then it kind of started to flow a little bit better.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Back to you guys.
Thank you, Kat. So Megan Rapinoe on her 64th appearance in a U.S. women's national team uniform. She doesn't get her name on the scoring summary with a goal, but Sydney LaRue and Alex Morgan both did. 3 from Morgan, 2 from LaRue, including that one. 5-0 USA.
Comfortable enough for the U.S. women tonight, 5-0 over the Republic of Ireland, as we take a look back at the highlights.
Well,
Kate.
this is the reason why Alex Morgan is my vote for the FIFA Ballon d'Or Player of the Year, because she gets every single thing on frame. A little build up wide, which is so key, pulled them out of gaps, and Alex Morgan hits it near post with power, and again on frame. But she's not done now. That's 2 goals. The third one played into the gap, and she loves going to her left foot, takes one shot, but look how agile she is. She's able to quickly turn on, be the first one there, and place a textured ball in the far post. But now we go to the second half, and at 3 up, it's hard to make something out, get something out of it, but they do because they create goals out of possession. Sydney Leroux reading the flight of the ball. All she has to do is redirect it, gets her hips around it, and Leroux, again, the young phenom, full of raw energy, gets it back, and it's a little bit of a guffaw from the goalkeeper, Emma Byrne, but when you place it with power towards the far post, something can happen, and the United States ends on a good note.